Welcome to Bloodbath and Beyond. Today we're doing a retrospective review of Doom Asylum. It'll send shivers up your funny bone.
Directed by Richard Friedman, starring Michael Rogen, Ruth Collins, William Hay, Kristin Davis, Harrison White, and Frankenhooker herself, Patty Mullen. After a horrible car crash, a disfigured lawyer, pronounced dead but not, is on a killing spree. And 10 years later, some feisty teens are out to party in an abandoned insane asylum, where this killer lurks.
This is a recommendation from our top donator over on Patreon, Deke. He requested Trav. Unfortunately, Trav has not been responding to my fucking messages, so we got Frank instead, I guess. I only know about this because I already owned it, because there was like a re-release and it had a cool cover and I picked it up at like a convention. But other than that, it's a horror comedy, and let's just talk about it. What do we like?
I am kicking it off with our killer. I know it's supposed to be campy, but his decaying skin effect, something about it, I thought it looked cool.
What? It's a fucking mask. It looks terrible.
It kind of like reminded me of like They Live.
You're right. It did kind of look like that.
Some of this real campy stuff in here made me laugh. And I know this is going to be in the dislikes. Tina's cackling, it was so over the top, I couldn't help but be entertained by it.
I just need to make it vocal that I disagree with everything John's saying right now. I liked our characters because they were weird, but most specifically, I think Darnell stole the show.
Let's go, assholes!
I wish he stayed around a little bit longer. He was just too cool and smooth. Trying to get with the drummer of like the weird rocker girls who had the worst music that I've ever heard. I didn't even sound like music.
You call that music?
That's Tina and the Tots. They played the local sewers.
But he was trying to get with the drummer of that band.
She wanted to get with him.
Big time.
I like that it ended.
You mean to tell me you didn't like Dennis running around wanting to collect his baseball cards?
I did like the wind sound that when he was chasing Wade Boggs.
He's heading for third.
I will give Dennis's kill credit. That was the best looking one.
I did like the buzzsaw to the face. I thought that was well done as well.
I kind of liked how wacky it was. Like our main guy, Mike, he's just odd. It's like every time he talks, he'll like change his mind mid-sentence for absolutely no reason.
It will be all right. At least I think it will be all right. Old Jane's parents are psychiatrists. She really can't help it. Well, I mean, I don't think she can.
And the fact that Kiki, she lost her mom and this is her like boyfriend, and she's like, "Can I call you mom?"
Can I call you mom?
Put him in the mom zone.
What do you say?
But mom, that's incest.
Ah, kinky.
I think the most ridiculous moment that I loved was the fight scene between Tina and Mike.
I thought they were gonna fuck.
Yeah, me too.
You think a lot of weird
Look how
things.
she was jumping on him.
Yeah, it was really strange.
No.
There was power thrusting going on.
Definitely.
It's because they didn't know how to act.
I liked our eye candy. We had like bikini babes. They just wore swimsuits the whole time, even though they were just having a picnic. I guess they're tanning.
In the shade. Yeah, they're tanning in the shade under the trees.
And of course, Miss Torpedo Tits.
You're in a lot of trouble, Torpedo Tits. I'm gonna get you for this.
Actually, she had the best threat. She's like, "Look at these!"
Take these, motherfuckers!
I wish I could piss off more girls like her.
Now, what didn't we like? I didn't like anything. Oh my God. It was only clocks in at about 1:18, but that was a excruciating 1:18. Everything from the opening crash, like a whole, like, God, 10 seconds, like you could have easily have pulled aside. This car was not gonna hit. Oh my God. Some of the shots were just like all bad. Like amateur hour here. I had no laughs from this. If it was supposed to, how did it say? Tickle my funny bone or whatever that was? Nah, none of it.
The worst part is you could tell they were trying to meet a specific runtime because they were inserting clips from like Sweeney Todd, like the black and white original movie.
Oh, okay, now that you've reminded me. That's what I liked about it. The old-timey movies. Those were better to me than what we watched.
I hated
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So it threw off the pacing of this movie big time. And it had nothing to do with the movie at all. They just kept inserting all of these shots. It happens probably 6 or more times. And it's maybe takes up 15 minutes. No, maybe 10 minutes.
There was some really long and dragged out clips that you would think would be like almost putting towards a Sweeney Todd is gonna slice someone with his razor blade, and then our killer is gonna slice someone with a razor blade, but they didn't like build anything up.
And so we just heard very terrible one-liner jokes, or
Our killer was bad. Disagreeing with John, he looked terrible, and he kept giving all these one-liners, but they weren't one-liners, they weren't jokes.
I respect your First Amendment right to the political beliefs of your choice, but I don't necessarily agree.
They weren't puns. They weren't anything that you were supposed to laugh at. And if you were supposed to laugh at
I think you were supposed to laugh at it. It's a horror comedy.
Yeah, I was too busy laughing at Mike running down the halls. Probably the best shot in the entire movie.
It's just so bad it's good situation, but it's not so good either. Like, they were intentionally trying to be funny in most areas, but the parts that you're laughing at are not those intended parts. You're laughing at the shittiness of it. Just even random dialogue, like none of the lines really mattered.
Did you know that Joe and Phil Necro are the winningest brothers tandem ever in history?
But what does that mean to you, Dennis?
And most of the dialogue scenes, they just like let linger a little bit, so it just feels really awkward.
I'll go.
You do that.
should I do this review? I don't know. Should I?
Also, our killer didn't have a motive. He was the driver that got into the car crash with Judy, Kiki's mom. So for 10 years, he's been killing people at this asylum for Judy. And then Kiki comes and he's like, I've been doing this for you. But like, what does that mean? What do you mean? You're just killing for her? Why would she want this? It has nothing to do with anything. Like, this story is just trash.
Believe it, asshole. Don't be so hostile, bitch.
I actually hated all our characters. Like, I thought they were stupid. I get what they were trying to do, especially with like Jane's character when she's like trying to be a psychiatrist and she just like sits down in the chair to like examine our killer. There was nothing I liked about any of our characters.
They're assholes to each other right from the start.
Come on, guys. She died 10 years ago.
I'm hungry!
I don't know how any of them could have been friends to begin with.
I don't know how none of them acknowledged that the killer's face was missing. They're just like, oh, hey, how's it going? Let's talk. No, guys, he has no face. Like, run. I don't know what's supposed to be forgiven in this movie. That's what's frustrating. It is supposed to be funny in some areas, but I just don't know which areas.
Tina's cackle was. I'm calling that.
Whoa, that sucked.
Make this fucking scumbag big and hard.
I don't know why you like that. It was irritating. I don't know why, but like every shot had metal bands or like rock bands all over.
At least we got to see Tina's boobs twice.
And shout out to Dead Meat James.
Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings.
This was an interesting movie because it is a horror comedy, but you don't know what's supposed to be funny intentionally. But I did have fun with it because I'm laughing at it and not necessarily with it all the time. Although they did make some fun jokes. I thought Darnell was probably the best character. And the practical effects were pretty solid. We didn't get a ton, but the stuff that we do see looks awesome. Except for the killer. The killer looked like garbage. I thought he was just such a bad character. He had no motive. His one-liners sucked and weren't actually even jokes. And I didn't know why he was constantly watching movies. Like, it didn't make sense. It didn't add to the story, but it did add to the runtime. Even though this is a short movie, it felt like a drag because of them. I did like the babes and I did like the characters because I found them somewhat enjoyable, but as a whole, the movie isn't that great. But if you're drinking or smoking, you might enjoy it. So I'm gonna give this 1.5 rockin' so hard your hair falls off out of 5.
I really did not have a lot to like about it. If anything, it was a short watch, but again, felt excruciating. Bad dialogue and acting, and nothing was funny. I could not have any more negatives than this movie as a whole. Just, wow. Yes, didn't like anything other than, again, I would have preferred watching the black and white movies that were already being shown in there randomly for no good reason. And I guess one decent effect. Don't watch this. Just don't. So I'll end my spiel now with a half a piggy goes to the market out of 5.
I would probably classify this film as it's so bad it's okay. Because it's definitely not good, but I did have fun with it. Like, some of the humor was intentional and I had fun at moments. But again, I just disliked all our characters. Our killer, I thought it was really lame and I enjoyed it. Like, I liked all the bad things. And I think that's what you should kind of go into this film expecting, is it's not going to be good and you're just going to be laughing at it. We did get some cool kills, but the black and white movie, the pacing, everything just really, it dragged. It dragged a lot. I would recommend watching this with some friends because you could have a fun time with it. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this film 1.5 cool dude corners out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on the film if you've seen it. If you haven't and you do want to check it out, links are in the description. And if you want the opportunity to recommend a movie for us to review, check out the Patreon. Link is also in the description. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with everything Bloodbath and beyond.